Je chudan zo je chonan la yang jo ba tan da no jo sin chi da we chi she je pe son la di ro la pen jo san je ra a jo je chudan zo je chonan la yang jo ba tan da no jo sin chi da we chi she je pe son la di ro la pen jo san Okay, so many books. What is the red one?
Oh, it's language. I'm taking it out from the library.
Oh,
Very slowly.
okay. Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. Do you come back? Someone throw the piece of rock in the Mark's window.
Throw a rock in Mark's window.
Yeah.
Can someone go and throw a rock on Mark's window?
No. I think he falls asleep.
Yeah.
I think he's sleeping. Anyway, it's wonderful. We'll come back. Now we do the meditation, okay? Same karma body. I'm not going to explain. Because we already explained many times. First, we will a little bit bring meditation. After that, a visualization Buddha's image as we before in the meditation for karma body. Keep your mind on that. Try to clear and tight. Okay, now visualization Buddha image. Clear and tight. Oh, that's good. Maybe I think you need to close the door. What will come in that? Just do it. Wow. What something will come. Wow. Good. Wow. Aya, akasanganzo gajani pende, deme chawa ne, deme chita de, deme tra de bas. Ta gajani pende de dosa ipa, dosa kisharwa.
So we've been talking about these 4 points, right? The 3 points. So the first one is the point of recognizing object of refutation. Then what's the determining the possibility.
Gajani
And
pende,
determining that they're not truly one, and then not really different other.
가다랑zo 단다 지금 담블레야 참들와 용도와 차종의 간지 아니 머리바디 오 머리바디
Anyway, all these problems that we have in this world and everywhere else, is because of the ignorance.
아 머리발라는 미시바
So ignorance means not knowing, right?
나 미시바다 딱 가는 간지 알아서 네 미시모베 왕도 아니 소소를 찍나 소소를 찍삼 대시양화의 제네 아니 그때는 너무 오래되나 그러와
So because of not knowing and ignorance, we perceive things in a certain way, and then we project upon the things in a certain way, and from there then comes all the problem.
아 근데 가자 세대 다 매워서 그랬어 매워서 되는 이유래서 같이 소소 같이 소소 같이 가자라 아니 요약 가자치다 매베 가자 이유래 매베 가자다 다 데바트 받아 대요 말했어 요약 가자다 덴수들 데바트 받아 덴수 당선들
So in the object of refutation, what is to be refuted? There are 2 kinds. So there is one that exists and one that does not exist. So the one that
what are that maybe not say what are they the calculus
what are they?
what are the two
What is to be in what is to be refuted? There's one that exists and one that does not exist. So what are they? What is the one that exists first?
This is the so there's the object and the subject. So there's the true existence does not exist, and the grasping at true existence does exist.
Well, in the years, and it never do miss.
about Bob
I love her answer.
okay how about you
You know, I like her answer.
why
Just makes sense.
how about you
Similar, but I would say that the self as standing on its one side does not exist, and what exists is I'm dependent rising.
I wonder what your model is. But your body colors and then the years.
okay how about Michael
And you're refuting self, but I can't remember the second one other than refuting self.
okay how about you guys Rinka
What doesn't exist is the conceptual self that can be refuted by reasoning. And what does exist is conventional nature, conventional.
Okay. Okay, Devra.
I agree with Rika. The truly existent self does not exist. Conventional self does exist.
Okay.
So we're talking, you guys know we're talking about what is to be refuted, right?
The object of
In
negation.
what is to be refuted? In what is to be refuted, there are two. One that exists and one that does not exist. In what is to be refuted, not in general, but what is to be refuted?
Refuted, what is to be refuted is inherited existence of the inherited existence. But yes. And then also conceptual sort of by refuted by reasoning.
Two, what is to be refuted? There are two, what is to be refuted?
Two refuted.
One does
So
not exist.
one is the innate view of self, the inherited existence, and one is the conceptual by reasoning.
You go to different direction. Okay, Karen, do you have? David, do you have? Okay, it's okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, do you have?
So I think the thing to be refuted is yourself, your ego, your made up ideas. I didn't really hear the whole beginning of the question, but that's what I got out of it.
Okay, that's not, yeah, okay, sir. Devra and the Kurukulla go to different direction.
So in what is to be refuted, what we have to refute, there are two. So one is grasping at the true existence that exists, and one is a true existence. So existing truly. So that does not exist. Existing truly is also to be refuted, and grasping at the true existence is also to be refuted. So of two of those, the grasping at the true existence, is existing, and the true existence, it does not exist.
Here, okay?
You can hear, right?
Here. You got key here, Deborah, Rika? Okay. Is the question, the answer is correct. Correct answer is Jennifer and Bob. I think Jennifer's answer, the Bob follow and Harold follow. Then Jackie and Marco and the other guys, you guys go to round the you come to the windows, not come through the doors. Yeah, 당가도 다 가자는 무슨 그래서 당가 가자는 무슨 다 가자는 무슨 가리래.
So now we have to recognize what is to be refuted, right? So how do we recognize what is to be refuted?
아까는 딩해는 것도 다 마보시 삼선 야도 또 마보셔야 돼 봐.
So we have discussed a lot about that, right? We've been up and we've been down and everywhere else, to find how do we recognize what is to be refuted.
가자는 뭐 맞잖아 까도 말 빼자잖아 밴드 함 마도나 냅텔라 딱슈도 말세 빼대셔 봐.
And so if you don't know what is to be refuted, then you will know what to refute, right? So first you have to know what is to be refuted. You have to recognize that, and then you will be able to refute it, right? So just like it says, that if you don't see the target, you will not be able to shoot, In order to shoot to the target, you have to see the target.
Okay, that was good answer. Okay, now go to Rika. I hope you not fail. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, you answered the more question. Really? No, no, we couldn't hear you. You moved.
So how do you recognize?
How do I recognize what to be refuted?
Yeah.
Because it's hidden usually. It's an innate view is usually hidden. So I remember one of the example was to go to edge of the cliff and then feeling the I comes up, the innate I usually hidden. And that I is the one. Or like when you're nervous or you're overjoyed and all that stuff, that usually hidden I will come out. And that's when you should recognize. And then and the book says that you should use other mind to vigilance to watch that. And then that's what I remember from reading.
Okay. Okay, other people? Some guys finish? Okay, here. Okay, Bob.
Yeah, Rika's right. You want to, I think Pabongka Rincoche says you have to really recognize the grasping in your own mind. So it comes up when you have a strong delusion arises. Or also, as Rika mentioned, if you imagine like being on the edge of a cliff. But he said you have to feel that yourself and then refute that. Because otherwise, if you just refute some idea about what that is, then you don't really, you just end up with an idea about instead of actually experiencing it.
Good. Okay. Jennifer?
Pabongka Rinpoche used the example of if you had two people walking on the road and they're at the same time they're talking, but at the same time looking at the road. So when the object instinctively appears to you, you have to use another part of the mind to observe it.
So that's how you look. That's how you look for the object to be refuted, right? So, but, but how do you find it? You're looking for it, right? And then you find it. So you're looking for the glasses. Yeah? Then now you found it. Okay, now you find it. So it's here. So how do you find it? How do you find? How do you find or recognize or find the object to be refuted?
Well, it appears instinctively all the time. So it's just I guess in an extreme example, like if you feel if you're blamed, for instance, or something that arises, it's just a matter of recognizing it versus finding it. It's always there.
Yes, Erika.
Also, they talked about in the book, so that the aggregates are the basis of the designation, and I is the object of designation that arise and conceive I. And usually the I comes as a mind and body joined. That there's no distinction, differentiate. And that I is the refutation.
Okay. How about what you say?
Yeah, I'm not adding much, but the only thing I would say is you just use your experience of either extreme euphoria, happiness, or extreme sorrow as a skillful means to, to bring about the arising of an I, and then you just through analysis see that, oh, this really isn't real.
Okay. Any? Was there something Ed?
Did you do it through analytical meditation?
Not like that.
So you're saying, how do you find it?
Yeah, how you find, not how you look. You want to find.
Through the analysis of one or many.
So what is the object to be refuted? Of course, you will say that it is the grasping at the true existence, right? Grasping at the true existence is what is to be refuted. But then, how do you find that or catch that? Oh, I lost my
He lost his book. That book has a lot of clean. They said this is like that. You have the the experience for the Sarah and Garden Rebu.
Yeah.
Go down there, the Kesson Jayambulam. They said the Kesson Jayambulam. What he said? What he said?
So when you speak of Sarah or Drepon,
Yeah, go down, then there's a Kesson Jayambulam.
in short.
Okay, what he said? Yeah, what he said?
He says that any phenomena is said to be this or that, equal in size and extent to the basis of imputation, presents itself. This is the ultimate object of refutation by logic. Has been described as the thing to which you direct your grasping at true existence, or as the object of negation that is supposed to be established as true when one does not recognize that it only appears to be true. Keep going.
No. Do you got something that? You got something like that?
I see that. Yeah, I have it right.
Yeah. But do you understand that? What you talk about that? Do you understand what they talk about? This is the meaning to you.
I don't know. I mean, when I look, sometimes I can, when there's a strong delusion, and I can actually feel grasping is kind of amazing, because grasping is just the right word. It feels like a tight grasping of like trying to hold on to something.
Like he's talking about the discriminating awareness of this or that,
Yeah, this is that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is that. We need to find that. Okay, can you read this? Yeah, a little loud.
Start in the same place.
Yeah. Okay, so this is like short.
61. It says, in short, as Khyentse Ramyang Monam says, any and every phenomena is said to be this or that, equal in size and extent to the basis of imputation, presents itself. This is the ultimate object of refutation by logic. It has been described as the thing to which you direct your grasping at true existence, or as the object of negation that is supposed to be established as true when one does not recognize that it only appears to be true.
Okay, that's good enough. 제가 이 가리지 제주 가리에 나와나 이티네 여파 차로 tel라 단 거절을 그랬어. 제 때에 나가지 세네로나 예 말했어.
So you understand that part, right? So no matter what it is, no matter what whether it's a small object or big object, anything that comes to appear, that comes to that appears as exists from its one side, that is the object of negation.
대 대파 칼라면도 그냥 딱 되어도.
It's easy to say by mouth, right?
Right.
이봐라, 그때 철서대 가도 남주 대대 통마다 지금 가자 대바트마다 지금 시험이 있어야 되거든. 그때 노래스티 오늘도 와.
So that very self, that very thing, that appears as exists from its own side, is the object of negation. So other than that, no matter where you look for it, you will not find object of negation.
So it's like as if the book existed as the reference for the book, right? Like that.
대비 걸어가래. 아무나 들어. 샤워해라.
잘 수도 시발아야 됐지. 그냥 아무도 저런 차려도 차게 마시고.
So it's just that we don't recognize, but everything that we see seems to appear as exists from their one side. That's how it appears to us, but we are not able to recognize that. So that recognizing that, is what recognizing the object of negation is, or what is to be refuted.
아주도 말 가다가도 사진이 방고도 돼요. 대만도다.
So now, if you go to just before the second point.
제가 짜자를 뭐지 들라도. 가데. 네가 또 자셔라 보죠. 소금 성게 말아요. 성게도 소소해서 돈이 다 레보지네 좀 그거. 돈이다 소소니 가디는 뒤도 다 대응해서 봐라. 로다 나왔대야 다 공자고 해서. 좀 저도.
공예대.
성게도 소소 소야도 소소냐 돼.
So it says here, so you do not have to search for it. The thing or figure is you. So it means like you don't have to look for somewhere else. It's yourself that you're looking for.
Okay? 내배는 그거 딱 덤충자다. 이 칸에 덤처럼다 그냥 들어다.
So this is like a like a concise or combining everything or whatever he explained earlier. It's all combining. It's short, brave.
제가 나도 다 탐하는 노래 나도 다 내도 말해. 대바 시험에 여러 개 했어. something. 내도 딱 되고 저까지 하면 또.
So whatever appears to us is what is existing, what is appearing as existing truly. And whatever appearing to us is what is appearing as existing truly. So that's what we have to recognize. We usually don't recognize that, but everything that appears to us appears as existing from its own side, appears as existing truly. But we're not able to recognize. So by doing the practice and meditation and the reasonings and all this, then we have to come to recognize that.
Okay? 단단 소다데 되버 저는 버시라서. 문이변에 남거든요. 지금 남거를 때 지금 솔다가서 딱 가리 시작은도 단단 소설을 딱 꺾고 그랬어.
So how do you look for that? Just like Jennifer explained about the two people walking on the road. So you're paying attention to the road as well as the person you're walking with. So it's just like that. So you're looking at the object, but you're also looking at the an object how it appears as existing source.
Okay? You guys can you guys hear? Okay? 가자 네가 가자 까시고 가자다 간디 요르스나 내가 리필 이러면 가자 내가 가자 니 요스 돼서 진짜 모르 매와 때 대바트 봐 제리스.
And so these objects of negation or what is to be refuted, there are two kinds. One is that exists, one is that does not exist. So the one that exists is the the grasping at the true existence, and the one that does not exist is existing truly.
다 주간에 나와야나야 소설이야 이게 뚜뚜주고니 이제 소설 나한테 다가 나와 나한테 시바 그런 노래 콜라 간이 나게요 랑고는 좀 나고도 나도 때 나게요 신경 말해.
So in other words, what we have to negate or refute is whatever appears to us. Whatever appears to us, is to be refuted, is to be negated because it appears as existing from its one side. In reality, it does not, but it appears. Whatever appears to us has to be refuted.
Okay? Any questions? You got it? What is very cozy?
Is it easier to recognize when there's a strong delusion?
네가 하는 게 저기요. 네가 하는 게 저기요. 레라임 나서야.
Yes, because it's manifesting at that time. Other time it's there, but it's hidden, kind of hidden. But when you have the strong delusion, then at that time it manifests. So it's a little bit easier to recognize it.
너 가라 야만나 가요 도시고 야만나 맛집에 도시지 말거나 땅 맛집 보면 또 가고 또 실려고. 대가도 딱 맞아야 돼. 맞아서 쇼치 못 끼게 그러더란 말이야.
But the times when you're overjoyed or over sad, it's that time it manifests stronger. It's there all the time, but it's just that it's manifesting stronger at that time, so it becomes easier to recognize.
나도 나 지금 나가도 와. 제가 내가 대바로 한 게. 저도 특히 초교만.
So you guys see Geshe-la, right? So you Geshe-la appears to you. But how does he appear to you? And from his one side, right? Existing truly. But do you recognize that?
아주 풍부다. 아니 체중 찍바시라 한 거다. 제가 다 들었다 봐도. 나도 체중 찍바.
Ashida.
나도 다주 폼발라 다주 딱 계시라 다워서 제가 제주 집어 지잖아 다 때려 때 나세요 다 때가도 누가 이거 때때마다 때때마다 저거요 말아
So seeing Geshe-la at the basis of designation for Geshe-la, right? So you see those two as the same, right? So seeing those two as the same is, seeing the existing from its own side.
오케이
Understand that?
그 내가 주도 담담 telleg도 가자 무대 때만 무대스나 저 띵사보고 타리모고 대가도 모르겠어
Usually, what we don't understand is that when we talk about the object of negation, we feel like there's something very profound or very far away and very difficult to see. It's not like that. It's there. It's very there. The very thing that you are looking at is the object of negation.
쟤는 들려도 저 지금 동반이었다 총계 나다 동반이 해지되어 그래서
And so, when you're looking for emptiness, yourself and emptiness are together. It's there together. You don't have to go elsewhere, to look for emptiness. Emptiness is very there, there with you, a person, who is looking for the emptiness.
오케이 도저는 양은 동반이겠지 가자 너만 무슨 너한테 너르대와 너는 매팽이 가자 고스면 갈 동반이 또 뭐요
So when you understand that, so when you recognize or identify the object of negation or this to be refuted, then you understand the emptiness. So many people, when they understand that, they come to realize emptiness right then.
아니 뭐 감내야 미치다니 위래야 로조치가 내도와 가자 무슨 로조치가 레버레서
So there was one guy, from Kham. He went to central Tibet to study about how to identify this object to be refuted.
아니 다 자자들로 나는 찌다 아니 파트다 그냥 게 담주다 제너럴 법다다니 고 가자 같이 로조치다라고 말 지금 골라고 말 랍시 토글 말 아니 캠보치라서 도저히 까와라 방에네 도저히 뭐라 까와라 섞게네 단지에 대해서는 좀 요래스 오마라 단지에 대해서는 좀 말하라 그래서 단지에 대해 이거 말하라 그래서 대가자를 그래서 가자 다 인소 많이 말
너도 가르쳐 따랐어? 뭐지?
아무도 변한 찍다 그래서 가자 세고도 가자 시절은 캠보치 찍살았다야 찍이 셔바는 수지 말로
So he went to, he got to the monastery and then, and so he met with these monks, and then he went to ask one, and then the other monk looked at the other one, just like Geshe-la looked at me, and then I looked at Jennifer, and Jennifer looked at Bob, and then finally, there was one other abbot who came there, and then he leaned against a pillar, and then he said, so he pointed at the pillar that he was leaning at. And he said, Prasangika Madhyamika says it does not exist from its own side. But Samatandaka Madhyamika says it exists inherently from its own side. And so that is the object of negation.
다들 곰잡 삼만다 곰잡 곰pen 다와 먹으면 니마지 코 까와들 라파지 되대사 그주죠 득지 카 바로 되대사 까와들 라파지네
So then he been studying and meditating just for a long time, and then one time he was just embracing on the pillar, holding with his arms, and then just doing nothing, just holding the pillar.
아니 제가 다 쇼가도 갈아다 주시는 아니 그것이 지금 나 문제였어 라고 딱 가자 내와도 또 많이 또 어때서 자야 와
And then, so he was holding to the pillar, and then people asked him to come to eat. It's lunchtime, and he said, "There's no eye." So at that time, he recognized, he identified or recognized the object of negation, or what is to be refuted.
그 제대로 가자 주봉은 저 로다 나와 먹을 때 다때 곰잡 삼모다 다 뛰고다 텔레라오니까 같이 카드만 랍시오니다 다 똑바로 하고 냠냠하시오.
So, so that's what happens. Like when you come to recognize the object of negation or what is to be refuted, and you come to realize that there's no I, no emptiness. I realize emptiness, and then. So anyway, so you have to meditate on this for a long time. And of course, it's easy to say this is object, of negation. But then, of course, you have to practice, practice for many months and years, and then you will come to realize it.
Okay, 다 가들 다 주마 안에 딘디 가자 무슨 가자 지데 데마트한테 가야지 지금 거지. 다 가자 무슨 딘디 여야가 데도 가는나 둘라 가리 공부 여행한 가리 나도 단다 가리 나도 왔대. 이 당에 시바데 까고 그랬어.
So of course, existing truly, the existing from its one side, is the object of creation, right? Also, but that does not exist. And even the one, the grasping at the true existence that exists, that has to be refuted too.
대마가 데마트가 잘못되어 대신 드나가도 노로서 왔다 해야겠다.
What?
덴드세 대마이 봐야 소소 나딩에도 많이 봐야 셴바지 티버리 슈침 마데 노로서 와.
So rather than thinking of that very, grasping at the things that exist truly, as an object of negation, we look for something else. So that's where we make the mistake, and then never come to realize that, recognize.
아 주문 들린다. 덴디 가장 문제다. 가르르잖아. 당당 가라서 이래 투에나 소소 나데야 강이 바들이 한게 싶어대 까고 그래서.
So what is the what is the object of negation that you recognize, that you identify? Is the very mind that sees the things in general, right? So whatever things that we see, we have to understand that as the object of refutation, or the object of negation, or what is to be refuted. So because whatever appears to us appears as existing from its own side, appears as existing truly, and that's what the Pabongka Rincoche says. So that's where we can just come to the conclusion and say that itself, the very appearance of any object to our conception, is an object to be refuted.
제가 대소리 샤지 셴바지 대나는 까대와이나 어떻게 가림 가르쳐야 될 말이에요.
And so if you put that aside and then look for somewhere else, to negate as existing from its own side, and you will not find it, and you will not be able to recognize that.
Okay, 이쪽도 나가서 다들 딘디 가자 슈치보다 나다만은 간디르나 다소서 남라라다. 가지 가지고 또 슈치밀라고 래 슈치하는 거래서.
And so, of course, then there's a difference, of appearing it, more strong or vivid or not. It's like when we talked about when we have a strong delusions, right? Or when you are overjoyed or over sad or over angry because you are blamed for something that you have never done. And so, like that in that kind of situation, then the object of negation or what is to be refuted,
That's good. I'm like that.
Refuted, becomes more vivid, more clear. It manifests at that time, so it's easier to recognize at that time.
Maybe it's broken.
Slider.
Okay, come. Come in.
Short circuit, right?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we lost
You're right.
Is it too much? Yeah.
Also,
Did the iPad lose?
Probably lose.
Oh, the iPad is frozen.
I'll come back. This one, we lost the left electric?
It's just a little surge, it seems like.
Oh, interesting. Okay. 다들 야, 됐다 가르쳐보는
All lost. So no internet, right? People cannot hear there.
Yeah, this guy saying, Deborah, can you hear Deborah?
Yeah, it was moving.
Oh,
Just
Like
restart.
it with their flash too.
we lost the electric.
Yeah, there was a flash, but I could hear and see it. Everything seems okay.
Is it too bright, Geshe-la, for you?
No, it's fine. 오케이. 제가 누구 죄송합니다. 답변은 짜증 단단한데 열로 꼼짝 먹어들. 나가 잡아 쉬쳐다. 단단하다. 근데 남기도 만들고 꼼짝을 잡아야만 되는데 쉬쳐야 뭐.
So right now, Geshe-la says he's very attached to those chairs at the back there.
제가
So right now, goes with strong attachment, right? Strong delusion. So that appearing as existing from its own side is much stronger now.
야, 근데 이거 다 내가 좀 무서워. 단데 세단데 가르쳐나 다 비니 도에서 지금 미치게 나고라 다 지금 수 줘보라 하대요. 뭐 제보레스.
So then, but we have to come to understand that. So how do we, search for that, or how do we look for that? It's just like the example, we it explained in the text, how you, walk with your friend and talking to the friend, and you're, looking at the road, and you're also looking at the friends.
오케이. 제가 엄마 다니는 시바나 데마트가 너무 찹스거든. 돈이도 시거든. 그거 데마나 하거든. 시바이나 데마트가 너무 찹스만 샘제지 시바나.
So according to the Prasangika Madhyamika, Simjene,
야,
Sarvatula, Dajamboy.
나좀 나거든. 그거 봐봐도 나거든. 상 맞이 받.
So whatever, so whatever, so whatever the things appear to the mind is appearing as existing from its own side. And so according to the Prasangika Madhyamika, right? So whatever appears to the mind appears as existing from its own side. So not all kinds of mind, but sentient beings' mind. Whatever appears to sentient beings' mind appears as existing from its own side. Except for the Buddha's mind. Otherwise, all sentient beings' mind, even the arhats, like the four destroyers and all the healers and soju brothers, to their mind, whatever appears to their mind appears as existing from its own side.
이나 봐봐도 데마트가 나 그거 말했어.
But of course, they don't have the grasping. Right, so it appears as existing from its own side, but they don't grasp or cling to it as existing from its own side. But in our case, just as it appears to us, we think it is like that, so we cling to that.
We lost
caring.
We lost caring. Okay, do you guys got it? 제가 다 주머니 가디나 이거 가장 가르쳐서는 다 가디는 하나 되지도 다 갖고 그래서 되기 싶어대.
And so next time, when you are asked what is the object of negation and what do you have to refute, is then you have to say anything that appears to you, whatever appears to me, is what is to be refuted.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Geshe-la. So then, say an Arya Bodhisattva in subsequent attainment, so it still appears, there's still the object of negation, the subjective object of negation as the objective, but they don't grasp at it. So do you say there's only one object of negation then at that point? So we talked about two objects of negation.
Oh yeah.
But for an Arya in subsequent attainment, so things are appearing as truly existent, but they don't have the grasping, so there's not that object negation.
아마도 그나 제토베줄라 제토볼라다 그나 가서 데버도 넘겨라. 얘네 데버도 등거 말아.
무슨 정도 말이야. 되게 된대요다 방법도.
된대요다. 또 데버도 남겨요잖아. 남겨요. 그 쟁기요 말아. 쟁게 매자 내가 그러다 가서 나 가자 니어서라 말더라. 가자를 니어서 여배 가자 내가 가자 니어라. 나 콜라 때문에 여배 가자도 요 말아서 콜라. 그거 이거도 말아.
그게 된대 요. 그게 된대 갑자기 없네. 그거 된대 랭게요. 다 전 밤에.
So the Arya Bodhisattva on the subsequent attainment has other kind of grasping into existence. Not of that particular delusion, where he has applied the antidote and that stage, but he has other the grasping at the true existence, to the other things. So he still has that, yeah.
So as long as he's a sentient being.
Yeah, some 마지막에 대도 거기 보나 사지로 그러고. 빵요 말해. 근데 그 생각에 와서 나 쉬우치만 가서 나가지 더 말아.
So the 먹어라. 되는 뭐냐.
근데 잘안 먹어요.
나 소스도 되게
싸대도 그 빵고. 야, 대 시험을 제거까지 아주 대도 시험을 제거. 그 저거 말해.
사담보가 없어 산이바게 되는데 방 된데 된바도
대마야. 수수 뭐까지 되는 빵으로 대도 잘안 먹어요.
So, like, so Arya Bodhisattva, if in the first bhumi or second bhumi, if you go until the 10th bhumi, you still have grasping, at some, not of that level where you have applied the antidote already, and you don't have that. But then, you have applied the antidote, and then there's a, uninterrupted path, and then the thoroughly liberated path. So when you achieve the thoroughly liberated path, that's when you have abandoned, of that path. But you haven't achieved the thoroughly liberated path of the second level, like the second ground or the third ground, right? And so at that time, that you still have that. You still have, grasping at the true existence. And then you also have the innate grasping of true existence, which you haven't abandoned yet.
가더라 가제다 내가 파바냐 저런 말 간증한도 소제 담아발아야 거래 나거나 되니 나딩 시바데 딱가고 그래서.
So yeah, of course, they don't have that kind of strong grasping, just like we do. We to us it appears, and then we think just like that. That's how it is, and then we grasp it 100%. But to them, they're aware, so they don't have grasping, of that strength, in that level. But they do have some kind of grasping.
단다 주동안 하거든 거. 지나서 난 나들 단다 지나서 그래. 난 나들 로스나 때문에 난 나들에서 이거 말해. 난 나도 다 알아서.
So like Geshe-la appears to you, right? Is there the appearance of true existence? Other than that, or that very appearance, is a true appearance of the true existence.
The very appearance.
The very appearance, yes, for you, right? So I'm gonna like as an ordinary person,
Right.
unless you are enlightened.
Okay.
If you're the Buddha, then of course not, right? But if you're not Buddha, then whatever appears to you, right? That very appearance is a truly existing and truly appearing as a true existence, or is there other ones? That very appearance, right?
Yeah.
So whatever appears is appearing as true existence.
Okay. 대인 바티 티카들 벤젤로서 취직을 롱시다요 완디나요. 베타요 다행 고고 도요. 벤젤로서 취직. 이 벤젤 말이야. 벤젤로서 취직인데요.
So there's Benjamin Shugijazin, has quoted in this text again. And do you find it?
No, 없더래야. It's okay. 야도 다 target를 야도야. 야.
Some,
Listen, Shugijazin.
oh, it's in the middle of the page. The way things
Oh.
now present themselves.
To us, ordinary being is, it's nothing but the way object of refuted through our logic,
Okay. 제가 늦어서 그러면 야도는 마모쇼도 그냥 분들이 로로냐는 도돌랍도로와.
Yeah, so if you can just remember these certain points like that, right? And then you don't have to remember the whole text. You can just certain lines like that.
근데 네가 이래 그래. 소소 주지 시바 탐절가 말이 왕거에 나와에 때만 나오셔서 이 진행전세.
So then it says refuted through the logic would appear to us, right? All consciousness within the mind stream of ordinary beings have been affected by ignorance. Because of this, any object that appears to us seems to be true.
오케이. 달자도 달래하고서 다디 가장 무대 가져갔나? 만들어 나도 다 아니지.
So now what is the object to be refuted?
오케이.
Whatever appears to us.
Whatever appears.
Whatever appears to us is what is to be refuted.
오케이. 만들어 대바도 나한테 계속 올라오고 말이야. 만들어 다 아니지.
You don't have to say, grasp, appearing as exists truly. You don't have to say that. You just say, whatever appears to me.
대가리나 만들어 나와대 아리피 와자 레벨만 하기 그래서.
So because whatever appears to us is affected by ignorance. Affected by ignorance, and therefore it appears as existence from its own side.
Okay? You got it? You got it, Rika? Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, then 제가 다 사니가도 다 가장 이번에 가도 람사 다 가로 때때 뭐볼랍자 때문에 가지 간절로 강 나와 다라이 나딩이 시바데 다라메 어서 그래서 보신다.
And so we talked a lot about this, what is to be refuted, and again now what is to be refuted is whatever appears to us. So what you have to refute is whatever appears to us.
Okay? Okay, 당하더니 받아 저기 다 사이셔 저기 한테를 하는 거라.
Okay, now we're going to move to the second key point.
아, 이게 뭐 자왕의 변해서 일단 납세바지 거기 대셔 체미 롱을 남지 샤바티 랑 렌트지 주비 나 라지지 때문에 가자 홍보다 뭐 지다다 가려야 저 구지에서 다 들어와 있나서 저 구지에서 대니 강을래 잼비 선바 마서스로
So now the second key point, determining the full sets of possibilities. As we have just heard above, a correct mental image born of first-hand experience of the object to be refuted may appear clearly to the mind's eye. If such an eye, the thing being instinctively grasped at, were in fact established by its nature, it would necessarily be established as being either one with or different from the basis of imputation, the aggregates.
It's true. And they should you're not down the Makarian Gucci.
So it says there is no third possibilities other than these two in general, right? If a phenomenon exists, it must necessarily be singular or plural. Right?
And the Shira de Chavayana, Shara Demba Yona, they be Chita, they met the Makuru, Gubi, Chapa, touch base, the touch of it is.
Says if this is the full set of possibilities for a category, and if something is approved for the whole category, then when an instance of that category exists truly, it must necessarily be either truly singular or truly plural.
제다 된디 나디 예신주 풍보다 라지지 TV 찍다 다들 고르려면 되be 되니 강을래 메신지 코메브라 타쳐 냠다 네반데 반 처왕이 변내야지.
It is quite certain that this covers all cases. It therefore also applies to such an I, which can only be either the same as the aggregates or separate from them. So the key point of this is it should lead you to the certainty that if it is neither of these two, it cannot exist. You must meditate on this key point, not merely for a day or two, but until you gain unshakable conviction in it.
Okay. Got it? 저는 내 뉴이라 땅고 그 담대셔로.
It's very short, so it's like combined together.
Any questions?
You give an example of thing like how that logic would apply.
Which logic?
This logic of neither one or many.
배째나 제가 저기 수보 온남 배나다처럼 말하지 나 말하지 내가 쏟다다 둘러다 대가더니 그게 된 계시라래 나도 미카 땅이 올라왔어 폼볼 때는 땅이 폼볼 때는 땅 갔다 오다.
So by looking at the Geshe-la's aggregate, right, Geshe-la's body, because he's in a hair-shaven head, he is wearing this robe, and so therefore he must be a monk, like that, right?
example, you guys see the when draw junyo, you're not in the Geshe-la bringing those junto. Get subola, soptana, and the Lagamushi shadow marva.
And then if there are 10 monks together, right, there are 10 monks together, and then you look at Geshe-la, and then you say, oh, that's Geshe-la. And how do you recognize that Geshe-la? That's Geshe-la is from his body.
제가 풍볼라 때니 Geshe-la 땅도 왔어.
Geshe-la is designated on his body, on his aggregates, right?
다 된디 풍볼라 때문에 Geshe-la 때 라노도 좀 되요나?
So if that Geshe-la, who is designated, on the aggregate, is existed from his one side.
다 된디 다좀 풍볼다 찌르도 다 되네스.
And so then, is it one with that basis of destination, the aggregate, or is it, separate, from that basis of destination, the aggregate?
I think it's singular and plural, right?
야, singular plural. 찌르도 다 되네스.
지도 다 됐어. 지구발에게 가가랬어.
야, 거기 찌르도 거기 가가랬어.
Yeah, so is it separate, or is it same, or separate? It's one or different. Is it one with the aggregate, the basis of designation, or is it different from the aggregate, the basis of designation?
Okay, you got it? 제가 찍어라 카드 공부를 따는 것도 우리 찍어자 가자.
So the designated, on the basis of the aggregate, right? So designated to the aggregate, right? So it's designated to the aggregate. So it's not the aggregate. It's designated to the aggregate. So now it looks like it's different, right? It's a separate.
Okay.
디오들한테 다스마다 스마 디미치라는 게 내는 가지 네틀 사와다데 다다 풍부니 나서 때들 된테네 때가 지연다 롤라 타데 나지 메바다 롤라 타데 나지 말았어.
So then if you move down to the third point, where it says determining that they are not truly the same, right? So if the Geshe-la and the basis and designation, the aggregate, on which you designate as Geshe-la, and if they are the same, it begin by bringing to mind the mode of existence of thing to be refuted. Apply this to the way the self and aggregates appear. If they were established as one, they would not appear separated to the mind.
Okay, 제가 전에가 나 안에 당시 얘와 타데 때문에 지고 그랬어. 근데 그 대마다는 그런 타데 때문에 지고 그랬어.
가시지 매우
강지 매고 그랬어. 지나 진짜 뭐 지라 도바 타데 타데만 나게 나서다 내서 만담바 따고 끄두지 나도 했을 테네. 근데 안에 나서내서 만담바지는 구조가 나더래서.
And then it says, if they were established as one, they would not appear separated to the mind. They must be one, never divisible into separate components, right? The reason is that things that have the same entity can appear to the mind as separate from one another. But this discordance between the way they appear and their actual mode of existence is the deceptive way of relative truth.
덴바 트발라 텐데면 나서다 내서 네 덴바 트발라 텐자 무르시 나서다 내서 퉁고스 덴바 트바이나 나와도 말하면 들어 봐 덴바 트발라 가리 나와나 다나이 퉁고 그래서 덴바 트바이나
So it says such would not be acceptable if they were established as true, right? So so the way they appear and their actual mode of existence. So these two, right, has to be same, and it has to be one. It has to be same or has to be one, and for it to if they are established as true.
된다 가자 캐는 되면 이제 다주 풍부시 저지 공부 풍부다 나고 풍부시 좁아다 첨매된 얘기 다고 풍부 소소 좁아 덤이지스.
It says the way it appears would have to correspond with the way it exists. Consequently, it would be pointless to posit a self to say the self's aggregate, so like my aggregate, right? Self's aggregate would be no different from saying the aggregate's aggregate or the self's self. It would be pointless to make the distinction between the self and the self's aggregate.
다 대미 전들 안에 나와있네. 예월레 바마토비 다요 마이 시베세. 예월레니 다야나 체지다네. 메바이 시소 바타. 예렌지 공부 나레 신비 예월레버부 다메 바지비 쫀당스. 아니 예레 보고 나레 신비 메바부 안에 다세 메비 쫀당. 테마드 주발레자이 렘보르랑니 렌치거 자, 대가 셀이 주고 진짜가 시송받더라. 이거 나자다, 이거 렘보고. 그런데 리다, 리체다, 연라자 주된 집이 존중스. 좀 보셔야죠.
And so that's when again quoted from Nagarjuna's root of wisdom, of fundamental wisdom. This is when you determine that it is not so that the self exists apart from the appropriated aggregate. If the appropriated aggregate are the self, your proposed self would not exist. In other words, the flaw in such an argument is that there will be no appropriator, the self, that is different from the five appropriated aggregates. As if this were not enough, it says in engaging in the middle way, it is not right to argue the appropriator and appropriated are one. And for then, the doer and the deed would be one.
지도마다 니와 라자다 렘바보다 근데 리다 리체다 예라다 예라저 찌든지 되는 저랬어요. 니와 렘바보다 니와 레자다 그거 찌자니까 이래서 보다 다 찌나.
And then it is further. In other words, such an argument is absurd because the receiver and the thing appropriated would be one. The body and the embodied being would be one. The limbs and the creature with the limbs would be one. Now, further, if the self and the aggregates were one, then as it says in engaging in the middle way again. And not like that also, because there are five aggregates, therefore there will be five selves also. If the aggregate were the self, it follows that as there are many, the self too would be multiple. And in other words, just as there are five aggregates, the self would also be five in numbers. Another absurd consequence would be that there is only one self, one could not accommodate five aggregates, right? They would have to be one as well. And as the self is supposed to be the five aggregates, we have the absurdity that it would be meaningless to talk of conceptions in the mother's womb. And then there will be like five eyes conceived at the same time, right? And then further, as the eye and the body are supposed to be the same entity by nature, and the body is cremated after death, becomes ash, we have the absurdity that the eye is cremated at the same time. And then just like the eye will be reborn, into the next life, then the body will have to be reborn again also to the next life. And then just like the body cannot be, this body cannot be conceived in the womb, and then you have to say that I cannot be conceived in the womb either. Then there's the fault and absurdity of the I not being born in the formless realm, or the I becoming a matter. If the body is in the same, one with the I, or the mind, then just like the mind doesn't have the feeling of cold or hot, right? Then you have to say the body doesn't have the feeling of hot and cold either. These are all these different faults that's pointing to if the eye, the aggregate, or the mind and the body are same.
Okay, any questions? Maybe you can read this more, okay? Go to home and read. Right
now you see Geshe-la, right? You see Geshe-la? So which is Geshe-la? Is it his body? Or which is Geshe-la? So you say Geshe, when you say Geshe, this is Geshe-la, then you're looking at his body, right? You're looking at his body, and then you're saying that that's Geshe-la, right? So is Geshe-la's body a Geshe-la?
제가 간제 랭고는 점나 아니 야만의 찍고리 찍에는 기실라다 기실라가 공부도 가시에 먹잖아 그래서
So if it's one, right? So if it's truly one, then Geshe-la and Geshe-la's body has to be one. If Geshe-la's and Geshe-la's body are truly one, then they cannot be separated.
제가 대나무 다니라나 그리고 기실라가 보리 기실라는 좀 기실라한테 인자로 또 생도 이거 걔는
Just even in the word that we say Geshe-la's body, means like it's not Geshe-la. Geshe-la's body means it's something that belongs to.
다 기실라기 공부된 기실라 연바이나 집바이나 그 롱에 맞지 때스만 메타다 어 기실라 메타다 다 상세해
So if the Geshe-la's body is same one with Geshe-la, and last year Geshe-la's body almost got cremated. The Geshe-la also almost got cremated.
예, 제가 가도 다니는 거 공부 메타다 메타다 라고 말어.
So what do you say? Do you say somebody's cremated or somebody's body is cremated?
Somebody's body.
It's cremated.
Huh?
I guess it depends on how accurate you want to be. Obviously, somebody was cremated.
Yeah, I've heard
He
it
was
both.
cremated.
I've heard it both.
네가 나야 someone.
Yeah, anyway.
네디 메타다운.
But that's a limitation of language. That's
Yeah, the language, right? 그 다니는 거냐. 다 여문나 풍부에 가네. 나 풍부가 이거한테 안에 땅아 붙잖아. 그래서 제도야다. 둘이 제자로다.
So you usually say that he died, right? So he says he died and he's cremated.
yeah,
Buried.
yeah.
I don't know the other one. 코 메타다운 했어.
야.
코 수고면은 코 메타다운 했어.
It's an extra effort to say her body.
각을 하는데 무슨 생각이 되거든.
That's how you say, but that's what you really mean.
I think some people really mean that because even these arguments, I mean, you have to, first of all, you have to believe in rebirth and the form realms, and to make any of
Formless
these
realms.
make these arguments, So maybe your average person, they may think that it's all one, and you die, and it's over. And
It's just the physical, and that's it.
Yeah, this is complicated. This is not easy. This is a very complicated argument. Yes. Any questions? But not much to discuss. If we go to more detail, more the text, then more confused. Now here, there's more text, not much to discuss. Kaje laye de dele kaje. And demba trupala, ane karo bana. Na le de na waji trupa de kaje de kutu ko na ta chede. Demba trupa de te pare. Na na ji kaje demba trumna na na ji trupa ko. Trupa ko resti kan la so.
So if it's really existing truly, then it should exist just like it appears. So the way it appears and the actual mode of existence, and it has to go together.
마두베는 하나라 라는 저번 하고보다 구두도 능가다 되는데 조금만 됐다 구두가 나도 되지 된담도 그 나와 나지 적고요 되는 나도 내가 맞다 봐도 그 롱고 말이 조금 말이 했을 때 도다거라.
So if you say that, oh, this is how it appears, but this is not how it exists, that's the deceptive way of the relative truth. But if if it is established as true, then it has to go along with each other. The way it appears and the actual mode of existence, these two has to go along with each other.
근데 그거는 같이 대바트나 야무나 직접고 야무나 이쪽고 다 지기는 견데서 연거래. 대바를 타대는 연거래.
So it's also saying that if it exists truly, then it has to exist truly as one or truly as different. And then again, he's saying if it's truly as one, then this is the false. And if it's truly as different, then these are the false.
Okay, but it's not easy. But
So this is what he's saying. But of course, it will be difficult for us to understand right away because it's a very profound subject. But just by talking about it or listening and understanding whatever we can, we leave a strong imprint in our mind.
그러나 그 가사 가지고 보면 대박 저거래서 나 대박 저거래 그냥 대대를 봐줘야 돼. 지금 대박 저거 말다 존나 존대 줘요 다시.
And so this, this is because people think that the I or the self exists truly, and they say no, the self doesn't exist truly. If it exists truly, then these are the false. Then that's we have to face. Like so, these are the false, and therefore it doesn't exist truly.
오케이. 다 자서는 많이 아주 저서 말로 고운데면 됐다. 제가 뭐 셔셔 쉬어야 되겠는데.
So you can read it and try to see if you can understand it, and maybe refer to the other texts as well.
제가
There's not much we can really talk about here in this text.
엄마 당고서 이제 빼면 다 깨닫지 버려. 엄마 당고, 엄마 sem지 두 번 마셔야 돼. 제가 당고서 했다. 빼 깨닫지 버려. 당고 다 쟁거 봐. 제쟁거 봐.
And so in the engaging in the middle way, there's the 10 chapters, and then so in the 6th chapter it talks about refuting the self. It's all about that.
Okay. Any questions? Yes.
It's more. It was interesting to talk about when the examples that it was giving about like conception and death, or more like we just gave an example of like, when somebody dies, we say they died, but and when like in our minds we're imputing that this person's body or this person's mind like as one of the same, and they pass away, and that's such a strong level of grasping that happens. I like, in my opinion, like in our lives, and I wonder what would be some practices or something that we can do to kind of refute these really strong grasping of life. Like, for example, a friend of mine just had a baby, right? Just a baby was born, and it was like, oh, like in my mind, this is a new, like it just felt as if this life just existed, true, like just got created, like, and for me it felt really like it felt like it truly existed. So I'm wondering how you would refute these things as it appears to the mind. I understand that because of the ignorance, everything that we see is truly existing, but it's very difficult to refute things about life and death, in my experience. So I'm just curious, how to practice more.
다들 다 되면 내가들이 식들에게 따라되네, 땡땡에 따라되네, 내가 맞다라면 맞다 똑같으래.
So yeah, just apply that, the logic, of the dependent arising, and because it's like that, they die because of cause and condition, or they are born by dependent cause and condition, by depending on all these other factors like parents and the fetus and all these things, and then the system is born. So it's not really born by itself. There's so many dependent arisings, that causes the baby to be born.
이제 라면 맞다, 대만 맞다 또 나한테는 나와요. 전반적으로 봤다 나와요 거.
So if you come to understand that, then even though it appears as like I said, it will always have that appearance, of existing from its own side, but you will not have the strong grasping, at the baby or anything, that exists from its own side.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's for me. I can easily slip into. I mean, we're using this analysis investigate ultimate existence, but it's easy to think that we're trying to negate conventional existence, and we're not. I mean, these things all, this is,
It's just not easy.
yeah.
It's easy for everyone to can understand emptiness, and we all have not kind of dancing, dancing,
So yeah, because of our grasping as the true existence, and the grasping, the self-cherishing attitude, because of that, then all these problems in the world comes about.
Okay, how's Rika? Are you still with that? How about you? Have any to share? What do you think? You understand?
Yes, I understand Jackie's question about the body, and it's hard to resist grasping. This is a quick my experience. When my mother died, she was cremated, but it's cremated in Japan, which is the Buddhist country. So they don't really cremate it to ashes. Body comes out bones, and I had to pick up my mother's bones and skeleton with the chopsticks. And then I realized, I thought that was her, the grasping, but it was just the bone. That experience was very profound, very strong. That picking up the dead body with the chopsticks was very, very a good learned a profound experience. Like I was grasping, like where is she? What, like, I thought that was her, but obviously that wasn't her. It was a very good experience for me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Then 가르친 데 쉐도 너로 싸워라. 네가 가르나 안도단 잡을래야지. 라고 진짜 세. 네 하모고 인자 그지 그때나 간도 너도 줘야 뭐 어떻게 되게 되는 거래.
And so, of course, again, because it's very important to understand this, right? That's why we're trying all these different kind of means, different ways to understand it. And of course, it's not easy to understand. And because of not understanding that, then there comes all these problems in the world.
Okay. Okay, I think we stop here. If there's no question, then I also read a little bit more, a little bit more meditation. This is like sometimes this is a conclusion to all the big books. Like, he has 2 big books. We have 2 big books. You guys could help her. Margaret has 2 big books.
Books in there.
Yeah, also there.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the problem I really get stuck on is when someone dies and that continuum of the self or whatever it is goes on to another body. So it's like there's something solid that passes from life to life. And that's where I can't, to let go of that idea.
하여만 대문이 지도다. 찍고 이제는 거기서는 또 있나 대화 받는 되게 견적이 기증 하시라고 시. 그냥 나도 제는 다다받다 너무 로카데 좀 말해. 이것도 도토시 좀 받는 게 가들어서 살아서 대성다.
So yeah, I mean, it appears as like it appears like that, but it's not solid thing. Also, there's a change. It's a continuum. Of the mind. It's not one mind, that's going in the same form or same way, from life to life. It's changing. So this mind, like even like in this life, the mind of the child and the mind of the person, grown-up person, and the mind of the aged person, like there's a total different. It's not same solid mind, it's different mind. It keeps changing all the time.
배당 남도 세대소도 전에 단답 빨라 지금 솔로 멤버 저거를 해와라시 소인념을 보더나 개와서 맡아 말이래요.
And so, like, if you can see, how this mind of this life, from the time we were born, when we were infant and a baby, and then, teenage, like that, so all the way, there has been changes like that, right? So when you understand, that mind is not solid, and unchangeable, solid all the time, but it keeps changing like that. If you see that, then it will become easier to see the mind, when it goes from life to life, how it changes and continues.
Okay.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Okay, now it's up. You guys need to learn meditation, but think about it's not much to say. Those things through the experience stand. 마음 재미 셔라버셔 되죠. 아니 그 조심만 또 많이 된다 나지. 소소 영원 나지 다 제도 용어라 가지.
So it's very difficult to express, your feeling. It's just like that, So this about emptiness, it's like that. You can't express in the word, It's something that you understand or realize, through practice and experiment.
제가 내가 아주 나한테도 내좀 통고 말다. 대 문자마다 아주 소소를 찍나 소소 나 야무다 섬에 찍대 더를 섬이 뒤질라 주는 것도 잘못해 보여 보다. 다때 노래요레스 다때 소주자고레스.
So the way things appear to us and the way things really exist, doesn't cooperate with each other, doesn't go along with each other. There's a discordance in there, but it's because of that, the way things exist is different from the way things appear to us, right? And what we see is where the things appear to us, and we're not aware of the way the things exist. But we believe in the way the things appear to us, and then we just think that is how things are, that's how it exists, But it's not that. That's not how it exists. That's just how it appears to us, and we have a strong attachment or clinging to that appearance, and then we believe that's how it is, And then because of that, because that's mistaken, and therefore, we keep on doing all the wrong things, and then grasping in the wrong way, and then that makes us to engage in the wrong action, and then that brings the wrong, a lot of problems from there.
Okay, now we stop. The other was the weather's hot, humid. If you guys tired, okay, we can do a little meditation. Okay.
Turn to page 39 for Thanksgiving model offering. She cookie chushing make up a rotten she need again body, some occasion to think to Milwaukee, coconut lashing larger marshal. Jay so lame could say rock and chin, nam had made choke should be bottom, no something Adrian may sansundi, growing until time to name you for chi. Idam Guru Ratnapandavakam Niriyataya. From my two collections, vast is space that I've amassed, working with them in this practice for a great length of time, they have become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eyes blinded by ignorance. Even if I could not reach this state, I beheld that your loving compassion for all my life under true, and may I find the best of complete great path of teachings and may I please practicing. Using skillful means drawn by strong forces of passion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings to the point of the path desire discernment. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I feel this treasure. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted boundless peace, and the Buddha's teaching be nourished for a long time. May this sacred course to enlighten the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddha's dear children. May all be so eliminate adversity and make things conducive to practicing the excellent paths and every part of their lives. Someone makes that the handful by the virtuous assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. In that snow mountain, circle land, source of every joy. May Lord Tenzin, God so crazy, remain life till some Savior of the soul and teachings and transmigratory beings,
who extensively clarifies emptiness and compassion
the lotus that Lord Tenshingyatso I beseech, may all your wishes be fulfilled. Fearless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravikas and Kritika Buddhas, victorious Losang Father and sons along with the masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Studies, teachings through explanation and practice, you won the honor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable venerable to you I make request. While striving single-pointed for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all things have been submerged, and for others living beings, you suddenly departed in peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, for the undeceiving truth and the blessing of the ocean of the individuals, and the great waves of the bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation surely be with glory for fortunate disciples. Page 49, the prayer to always meet with perfect teachers. Your form and body is all Buddhas, your nature is that of Vajradhara, you are the root of the three jewels, homage to you, O Lords. In short, I seek your blessings, O protected and cared for by you from birth unremittingly throughout all my lives, thus to become your chief disciple, holding every secret of your body, speech, and mind. O protector, please grant that all be auspicious for me to be foremost among your very first circle of disciples wherever you manifest Buddha, so that all my temporal and ultimate wishes without exception may be effortlessly and spontaneously fulfilled. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent doctrine. Qualities, the stages of paths, may I quickly attain the state of Bhaktara. Furthermore, in life after life, may I, pleasing Him, be forever caused by and accomplished by my spiritual master, the source of every virtue of this world and beyond. In His care, may I acquire in Him a firm, unshakable faith, pleasing Him by every means possible, doing nothing even for an instant to disappoint. May my spiritual master impart to me every instruction, every teaching in its entirety, having understood them flawlessly, may I practice them and be able to bring them to perfection. May I never even for a moment fall under the sway of whoever teaches and misleading friends. Having developed by the cause and effect of renunciation of the Bodhi-mind and pure view, may I overcome them continually with effortless experience. In every life, may every virtuous act gathered by way of body, speech, and mind be causes solely for the love of others and for the purest and highest enlightenment. This virtue may I swiftly have gained that state. Place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious supreme Bodhi mind, may it where unborn arise, and where born never find, but increase forever. 75, let's him up. Ignate se with
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.